All right, in this video, we are going to work through an example and just sort of to tie everything together that we've been talking about. So if I run this, you can take a look at what it looks like. This is just the same example that we looked at when we were talking about the grid layout. And right now, there's no functionality here. I can press enter all I want and press these buttons and nothing happens. But what I want to have happen is I want to be able to enter like names and IDs in these entries here, and then click on the add button and have them display down in the um, down in the text down there. Okay, so and then I want to be able to clear when I click this clear button, right? I want to be able to clear any text that's down in this bottom part here. Okay. All right. So, all right. So the first thing I need to do is when I do that, what I want is for what I'm going to have to do on the add, right, is to get this information out of here, out of these two boxes. I'm going to have to get it out of there and kind of put it together the way I want to, and then display it into this text right here. And then when I hit the clear button, I want all the text in there to go away. Okay. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to add a couple of string vars in there, one for the name. I'm going to call it name var, and that's going to be the one for the entry here. So I'm going to create a string var, tk dot string var, and I'm going to create one for the ID. All right, and then what I'm going to do is to tie the name entry to the name var. I'm going to do that with text variable parameter equals name var. And then for the ID entry right here, I am going to tie that to ID var. Right? So they'll have the same values. If you haven't watched the video where I did a simpler example, you should definitely go back and watch that so you make sure to understand what's going on there. Okay, so now to access this stuff in the name entry and the ID entry, that's going to be located I can do that through these variables here, right? And they're linked together now. All right, next up, I'm going to have to add a couple of functions to handle what happens when I click the add button, when I click the clear button, right? So for the add button, I'm going to have one called add text. And for right now, let's just do pass, and I'm going to have one for clear our text. Yeah, clear text is fine. And I'm going to do that for right now. So, okay, so let's go ahead and handle this one with where I clear the text first. That one's a little bit easier to deal with. So what I want to be able to do, right, is to call this clear text function, and I need to do that when I click the button. So this button, I called it ID button. This is from a previous example, so I probably should call it like clear button or something like that to make it a little easier, but you can see it's the clear button right there. So what I want to do is to call this the command equals, and then I'm going to use lambda because I'm going to want to pass it some arguments. I want to pass it the text widget and that I want to clear, which is text down here. So if I do that, I would do text widget, and then I would call the delete method when I do that. For the delete method, I have to tell it where to start deleting and where to stop deleting. So the beginning of the delete is at 1.0, and then the end is going to depend on how much stuff is in the text widget. So you can get the end by doing tk.end. All right, and then for the lambda, it's going to be clear text, and then I'm going to pass it that text widget that I created here. Okay, so now if I type stuff into the text widget and I press the clear button, right, it should clear it out. All right, so that's all I've got to do for that one. So I want to do something similar with the add text as well. So for the add text, I'm going to have to also pass it the text widget. Or I can do it that way. And then I'm going to have to pass it the ID and the name string consisting of the ID and the name. So I'll just call that ID name. Okay. And then to put something into a text widget, it is the insert method. Insert, and I have to tell it where to insert. I want to insert at the end on this one, so that's going to be tk end, and then the second argument is the stuff that I want to put in there. So this is going to put ID name at the end of the text widget. Okay, let's see. Okay, now what we need to do is to link the button up with that. Just see if everything's okay. Looks good. But right now nothing's going to happen when I click the add button. Even if I have stuff in here, it's not going to work because it's not linked up. So I need to go and do the command for the button. It's going to be long, so I'm going to put it on the next line here. All right, so it's lambda, and then I'm going to call add text. All right, and it's going to be text. That's the name of the text widget that I've got down here. And then the stuff that I want to put in there is in this string var. So I need to get the values out of there. I want to get the ID out first. So that's id var.get. And then probably put a space. And then get the name var.name underscore var dot get, and then this puts it back together. So has ID plus a space plus a name. That's going to be inserted into the text widget when I run this. So let's see here. Okay. So if I put Alice on the name and I put ID of 1 and click add, then it should show up in here. If I put 2 for the ID and then Bob, that will also show up in here. But notice how it kind of jammed it all in one line. I want it on a separate line. So hit clear, that's still working fine. So all I need to do is to add an extra return in there, and that should get it. All right, so Alice, Bob, all right, so that's working. What if I don't? Let's see, I'll add that back in there. What if I don't have anything in here? Works okay. Okay, So there we go. We're able to add stuff into the box, name, ID pairs. Even if they're blank, it still works okay. This button will clear it. All right, so that's it for this example.